Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I want to share with you another unhealthy health food that is consumed by a massive amount of people and is believed to be healthy but isn't. So what is this food or food item? It is plant-based milks. Hear me out. Not all plant-based milks, but a lot of them. And I'm going to touch on that and how and why. So a lot of the times when we have gut issues, leaky gut, an autoimmune condition, a skin condition, whatever our health issue might be, our first steps are to start removing inflammatory foods. Dairy is one of those inflammatory foods that a lot of times is a common allergen or sensitivity for many of us, but it also is a mucus or dampening food, mucus forming food. And like I said, an inflammatory food. So it is something we naturally want to remove. And as we remove milks and creams and other dairy products, we tend to replace them with plant-based options, which is a good concept, but not good depending on what we're choosing. If we are buying plant-based milks from our regular stores, most companies, again, not all, but most companies' brands and milks, whether it's cashew or almond or oat milk or whatever else it might be, most of these are full of bad ingredients like gums, thickeners, carrageenan, phosphates, palmitates like vitamin A palmitate, and other ingredients that are not great for the gut, including folic acid and so much more. Most of these companies will pump up these products with vitamins and synthetic vitamins and hard to absorb vitamins and thickeners to give it a good consistency and texture and to try to fortify it a bit. The problem with this is that we are replacing, so we're taking one inflammatory ingredient like dairy, but are replacing it for another inflammatory ingredient, which is a standard milk, like a plant-based milk. And so yes, we're reducing inflammation by removing an inflammatory food that many of us are sensitive to, but then we're bringing in something else that is just as damaging to the gut lining. We might not be sensitive to it in terms of our body having antibodies against the plant-based milk, but when we consume it, the carrageenan or other gums and thickeners and bad ingredients that are present in that product are inflaming our gut lining, just like dairy would. And they're tearing apart the gut lining as we elevate our inflammation. And this causes an exacerbation in our symptoms, just like dairy would. So it will cause more IBS symptoms, or it'll flare up your skin or your autoimmune condition, or whatever other condition you have that you're trying to address. And so a lot of times people will make the switch from dairy to plant-based milk, and then they'll say, I've avoided dairy, my symptoms didn't change. I'm still experiencing the same symptoms, so dairy must not be my problem. And then they reintroduce dairy. And the issue with that is now they're consuming something that is genuinely a sensitivity or an issue for them, and they're thinking that it's not an issue. When really the reason why they didn't see a change in their symptoms is because they were consuming plant-based milks that are full of not great ingredients, and we're keeping their inflammation levels elevated. So what do we do? Well, here's a couple options. I always suggest making your own. Now, 99% of the time I will make my own. There is a random time where I will actually go and buy a standard plant-based milk because I need to bake something or whatever, and I'm in a pinch and I literally don't have a second. But it's rare. Most of the time, I will either make my own, and I have recipes on this channel and on my Instagram for 2-ingredient nut milk recipes. It takes like 30 seconds to make, which is super quick and tastes delicious. It is really creamy with no gums and thickeners. But if making your own is not an option, and again, it's super simple and really affordable. You don't need to buy a big bag of nuts and soak them overnight and then blend them and strain them. We don't do that. I have a really good process and it's on this channel. You guys can check out that video. But if making it, again, is not for you or is not going to work out, what else can you do? It's looking for brands that have pure plant-based milks that are not pumped up with gums and thickeners. So in Canada, and I don't know if these are available in the US, but you guys can look at these companies online and try to find something similar. In Canada, my go-to is Greenhouse Juices. They make the best almond and oat milks that are so creamy with no gums or thickeners or sweeteners. And then I also really, really like Elmhurst. Elmhurst is another brand that makes some pretty good nut milks where it's like 2 or 3 ingredients like salt, water, and hazelnuts or something like that. So that's what you want to be getting is the nut and water. There shouldn't be other ingredients in there, especially ones that you're not familiar with. And if there are, I would steer clear because again, if your goal of using a plant-based milk is to substitute it for dairy so you're not getting inflammation, you're still going to be getting inflammation from these plant-based milks. So just be really careful with what you're using. You will find that it will help a lot to reduce your inflammation and your symptoms if you're omitting these milks and not having these inflammatory ingredients. So I wanted to share that with you guys today. If you are doing all the right things with your health and you've cut out the bad foods and you're taking supplements, but you're still not seeing the results you want, and you are using plant-based milks, maybe try cutting them out for a bit and either making your own or just avoiding them altogether if you can't get a good company, and see how you feel after a couple weeks to a couple months after the products and ingredients are out of the system, and see if there's any changes. And a lot of times there will be. Maybe not everybody will notice a difference, but most people will, and you'll be surprised at what these ingredients in these products can actually do for your inflammation. It's kind of scary, but definitely give it a try. Comment down below if you've seen a difference by avoiding those gums and thickeners and things like that. I know I have with my IBS. It helped so much. So I just want to pass this information on to you guys. I hope you guys enjoy. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you in my next video. Bye.